Well, it's happening again, and it seems like the Dallas Mavericks just can't seem to shake the sins of their past, as the problems that plagued us all last season are starting to rear its ugly head yet again. And what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, are injuries. Before the game against Indiana Pacers, we knew that several players were either probable, questionable, or just flat out. We knew that we were going to be without several players like a Dante Exum, like a Kyrie Irving, and we weren't so sure about Derrick Lively, but he was out, as well as Daniel Gafford was also out. But during the Indiana Pacers game, as things started off very ugly, like most of the games this season, Anthony Davis went down. They called it an ankle soreness. It looks more like an Achilles injury, not a tear. He was able to walk off fine, but obviously there is something wrong with Anthony Davis, and he currently is injured. And with Anthony Davis being injured, we are getting very, very short at the 5 position. Jason Kidd the other day said that we're shorthanded at the point guard position. Well, we're now shorthanded at the center position. We did get a monster game from Dwight Powell. We also have Musa Cisse on a 2-way contract, but will that be enough for the Dallas Mavericks to continue until we finally get our players back? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at exactly what happened to Anthony Davis, how will the Dallas Mavericks survive without several key players, and what does this mean for the season as it's just getting started. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, we're currently sitting at 22,190 subscribers. I appreciate all the love and support. But if you want to be up to date on everything Mavericks related, as we're going to have live streams, watch-alongs, news vids, giveaways, everything else in between, make sure you subscribe. But the Dallas Mavericks, as we all know, last season was a season from hell. Excuse my language, but we had injury after injury after injury. Guys just couldn't stay healthy. And even after the trade deadline, it continued. Anthony Davis had his own injuries. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. And to the point where we were so injury-ridden that we almost had to forfeit games. Only had about 7 available players, having to use all available games out of our 2-way guys, even getting 10-day contracts to players to just help us not forfeit games. Would have been the first team in NBA history to forfeit games due to injuries. And after last season, we thought that was in the past. We have a new training staff. We have better people in charge of the players' health and wellness. We're going to come into this season more healthy and ready. And unfortunately, that is just not the case for the Dallas Mavericks. If we just take a look at the report that came out the other day before the Pacers game, we did get confirmation that Cooper Flagg is not listed at all on Dallas's injury report for Wednesday's home game against injury-ravaged Indiana after taking a hit to the left shoulder Monday night. Cooper Flagg took a little bit of a hit from Isaiah Hartenstein against the Thunder on Monday. He was holding that shoulder, didn't really have a good game, but he was able to play on Wednesday, yesterday, against the Pacers, and he had a very good game. But Anthony Davis, who's dealing with a bilateral Achilles tendinopathy, is listed as probable for the Mavericks. And on this list, we see that Anthony Davis was probable. Dante Exum still out. Gafford, doubtful. Irving, out. Lively, doubtful. Williams, Brandon, questionable. He did end up playing, but Lively was out. Gafford was out. And with this bilateral Achilles tendinopathy, they allowed Anthony Davis to play. When he only played 7 minutes until he did go down with an Achilles injury, and things just do not look good for the Dallas Mavericks. The report that came out showing that Anthony Davis exited the game and went to the locker room after an apparent Achilles injury. He entered the game with a bilateral Achilles tendinopathy injury, and I don't know who cleared Anthony Davis to play last night, knowing that he has a history of injuries, that he has a problem staying healthy. This is the second, maybe even the third injury that we've had with Anthony Davis so far, and we haven't even had him for a full calendar year. And it just does not bode well for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, thankfully, these are happening now in the beginning of the season. I'm not saying we have to hit the big red button. The season's over. We got to rebuild, just tank. No. We still have a lot more basketball ahead of us. It does pay to stay positive, and it's much better to deal with this now instead of towards the end of the season when things could possibly get even worse for the Dallas Mavericks. But it does not mean things are going to be easy for us. These games are going to get harder and harder as they go along. Thankfully, we have a few days off. Maybe AD gets some rest, and he does feel better for Saturday's game against the Pistons. But the Pistons did make the playoffs last year, and we didn't. They're a lot healthier, and we're not. So the Dallas Mavericks definitely have their work cut out for us. But most importantly, we are losing size fast. We don't have Dante, and we already know that he's a longer guard, but we don't have Dante. We don't have Daniel Gafford. We don't have Lively. We don't have AD. At the time of recording, we were out all of those key players. Everybody talks about how the Dallas Mavericks have size. They have length. They are deep. But how deep are you if most of your players are injured? How big are you if all your big players are hurt? PJ Washington will definitely play some small ball 5, as we've already seen this season, and it's not a bad thing. It definitely works. And in the other night against Indiana Pacers, we got a big game out of Dwight Powell. He actually put up decent numbers, and it wasn't just in garbage time. It was throughout the entire game that we played him. Dwight Powell was serviceable. And there were other players that have also shown flashes. But when these injuries pile up, games are going to be harder for us to win. Kyrie Irving being out was one thing, but also Anthony Davis. And like I said, at the time of this recording, we don't know when Anthony Davis is going to be back available, if he's going to miss any time at all. I would expect an Achilles injury should be taken serious, 1 to 2 weeks at least, to just give him rest to recover until he's fully back. Unless we're going to have another issue like we had earlier this year in February, where we traded for Anthony Davis, and yes, he came to play after being injured on the Lakers, and in that game, he was out. He got hurt in the halfway through the third quarter and didn't come back until towards the end of the season. But if we take a look right here, all over the place, we do have an update from Jason Kidd on Anthony Davis' injury, saying it's a left lower leg soreness. He tried to return, didn't want to take any chances, so we'll see how he feels going forward. And we all heard the story before. When Anthony Davis had that adductor strain earlier this year, he also wanted to come back in the game. And thankfully they didn't, because he probably would have made things worse. So of course, Anthony Davis, he has an Achilles injury. They're calling it a leg soreness injury. Of course, Jason Kidd's not a doctor, so he's not at liberty to diagnose Anthony Davis right away. But I would be remiss to think that Jason Kidd does not actually know what's wrong with Anthony Davis. I'm sure he does know. He'll allow the team to report it whenever it does come out. But yes, Anthony Davis goes down with an injury. He leaves the game. Thankfully, we win. And of course, Anthony Davis is a competitor. We can call him street clothes, Data Davis, glass bones, say what you want about Anthony Davis. He actually wants to play, and he actually wants to win. Unfortunately, his body just isn't on the same page as the rest of them. He wants to play, his body wants to take days off. It just doesn't work out for him. And I do feel bad for Anthony Davis. He is a great player when available and healthy to play. Just not that available, and that's the unfortunate part of it all. The Dallas Mavericks, slowly but surely, I've talked about it before, they're starting to figure things out. The only few things we really need to work on is our starting 5 and figuring out where these point guards are going to go, and the Dallas Mavericks can definitely win some of these games. We have the talent, we're just not placing the players in the right spots, and that's the downside of it all. But if we want to take a look at something else, like I did mention, Dwight Powell had a pretty good game yesterday off the bench. Had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, was 4 of 6 from the floor, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. They kept fouling our GOAT Dwight Powell, and he was also a team high plus 12. Most points in a game since 2023, and we saw a little bit of these flashes during preseason, and obviously it's just preseason, so you can't take it too seriously. We all understand that, but Dwight Powell is showing that maybe he's improved, that you can trust him in a game. Now, obviously, Indiana has a lot of injuries, so it wasn't like we were seeing this against some of the top teams in the league. Indiana Pacers still have no wins. Thankfully, we didn't give them their first. But we do have Dwight Powell, which will play some minutes in his upcoming games. We know PJ Washington can play some small ball 5. Hopefully, we see Musa Cisse just to give some guys a break at the 5 so they're not getting too tired out there, as I can expect to see PJ play against a player. Obviously, he's way taller than him, maybe stronger than him, making him tired. Same deal for Dwight Powell. But the Dallas Mavericks have their work cut out for us. Unfortunately, we just don't have the luck to stay healthy. Fortunately, it's happening now and not towards the end of the season when we're trying to make a push for the playoffs. Get the injuries out of the way now. Stay healthy for the rest of the season, especially when Kyrie Irving returns. It'd be unfortunate if Kyrie Irving returned to a team that's fully injured and then he's here for what? At that point, just don't come back. But the last thing that we're going to take a look at right here, Cooper flag. Oh, nope. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. So hopefully we are going to stay healthier moving forward. Hopefully the Dallas Mavericks can survive these upcoming games. Like I said, we have a few days off until we see the Detroit Pistons on Saturday in Mexico. And make sure you subscribe. We're definitely going live for that game. And if we do get an update on Anthony Davis, best believe that this is the place where you can find out exactly what's going on with the Mavs. But let me know in the comment section down below. Are you worried about Anthony Davis and this injury? Are you worried about Gafford or Lively or the rest of the team? Or it's still too early. It's only 5 games. We'll be fine. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and we can have a conversation about this. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. And as always, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.